Welcome back, everybody. It's another episode of Important Work. I'm your host, Chris Angell, and I'm here joined today by my guest, Dr. Anita Jackson. Hi, Anita.
Hey, I'm so happy to be here. Hi, Chris. It's so
Thank
nice
you for being here. Oh my gosh,
I'm honored.
we met in June, I think, at an event called Show Up Live, put on by Maru and Rachel O'Rourke in Portland.
That's right.
And it was so great to meet you. I got to see you speak there. And your energy is infectious. And I thought, wow, what a great person to have on the show.
Thank you very much. So is yours. You were preaching, brother.
Thank you. Yes, I was getting that feedback from you. I liked it.
Right? Come on now. It was good.
Yeah, love it. Well, you have really important work in the world, and I totally want to dive into that because I think we should give that as much exposure as possible. I'd also like to kind of explore how you found it and then sort of how others can find their important work. So let's just start with what you feel like your important work is. What's your calling? Like, what are you doing in the world?
Let me start by saying, I think when people look on the outside of my world and look at all the things that I've accomplished, they're like, oh my gosh, it must be so easy for her. And she's accomplished so much. And this is fantastic. And not really knowing that behind the scenes, those of us who feel that we've got some sort of a calling on our life, we go through the hero or heroine's journey. And sometimes that journey is pretty difficult. It's pretty painful. I think my calling started at the age of 16. My mom took me to a women's conference, my very first women's conference in Anaheim, California. That's where I'm at. I live out here in California. And it was the Women of Faith Conference. And that at the Honda Center. And at the time, the Honda Center held about 18,000, 20,000. And I remember being in the nosebleed area and watching 5 or 6 women on the stage speaking. And it was the first time I had seen an African-American woman on the stage. And so she was a short little woman. I remember her name very clearly, Thelma Wells, and she had these really big Mr. Magoo glasses on and a huge gold bumblebee on her shoulder. And she spoke about the bumblebee and all that kind of stuff. And then all of a sudden, the lights dimmed, the mood lights, if you will, came on in the stadium. And she started to speak in the dark. And she was speaking so powerfully that the women were responding. And my mom, here's this strong woman who's gone through hell and back to take care of my brother and I, was weeping. And I had never seen my mother cry. I didn't even know she had tears. And so she's crying. And I went, I want to do that. I didn't say that out loud, but in my little 16-year-old heart, I remember saying, I want to make that kind of an impact. Because if you can speak to someone in the dark and change their beingness, their feelings, their emotions to such the point that their hearts is broken open and they're having this emotional response, that's what I want to do. I didn't know what I really meant, what I was saying at that time.
Yeah, right.
I knew that
you felt something.
Okay, I felt the power of it, but the journey after that, the things that I've gone through to help me land where I am today. And I say that because I think any person who has gone through hell and back, you've got a calling on your life. I think everybody has a calling on their life, but those who have experienced something really traumatic, and my background has the trauma, has the abuse, has the domestic violence, has the alcoholism, has the depression, has the suicidal attempts. I've got all of those stories. I don't look like it, but I do. Wow. And then it was in 2011 that the calling really came forward. I got laid off from my job. Oh. And then that, of course, turned my world upside down.
Yeah.
From losing your job, my thought was, I've never had a problem getting a job. I'll just go get another job. I'll be fine. Well, 3 months goes by, 6 months goes by, a year goes by, 2 years go by, and I'm overqualified. I can't find a job. It's happening right after the crash.
Right.
So at that point, you're like, oh my God, what am I going to do? All my money is now disappearing, and then there's losses after losses. I lose my house, I lose my car, I lose all this stuff is taken away from me. And I'm like, why is this happening? I don't understand. This makes no sense. What's going on?
Did you ask that question for the 2 years?
Probably the first couple of months I didn't, because I was like, okay, I get to take a break.
Right. Yeah.
Breathe for a minute. It's okay. When my money started to disappear, that's when I started to go, okay, I need to start hustling. And then when you're hustling and you're putting out, I have my old computer, I applied to 363 jobs and only got 1 interview. And all of these jobs I qualified for. So that's when you start to realize that door of going back to being a psychologist, because I don't think I mentioned that, is I have a background as a marriage and family therapist and an organizational psychologist, did that for 27 years. That's when I knew, yeah, the journey is that door is closed and the journey is about to change. And I fought it, let me be honest. I screamed and hollered and said, nobody loves me, and why is this happening? And oh my gosh, because I'm a little bit of a drama queen.
Let me ask you this: when you were faced with, okay, I can't do it the way I had done it. I can't go back to that, and you were left with what was in front of you. Yeah. What were your biggest fears?
I think my first biggest fear was, have I done all this for nothing? All this education, all of this money going towards school and loans and all this stuff, and this is where I'm at, living in my mother's house. I'm not married, no kids. How did I get here? Because of course, I had another dream. I had another vision. I had another identity in my head of who I thought it was supposed to be. I now look back and realize that I wasn't really living my calling. I was living someone else's expectation of me. I was living my family's expectation. I was living teachers' expectation. Anita, you're really good at this and you should go do. And I'm like, oh, okay. Then I just did it. Not really realizing how much I was dishonoring me.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
How did you get access to what you felt was really your calling and not living out somebody else's calling?
I had to lose everything. I literally had to go bankrupt mentally, emotionally, spiritually. So, because when you've landed on your back and you have nowhere to go, the only thing you can do is look up to God and go, okay, I surrender, and tell me what's next. And I remember when the vision for the calling started to drop in, I was invited to speak in Hawaii. And we were walking, it was in the Diamond Head. So in Hawaii, there's a volcano called Diamond Head. We were walking up the path. And once we got to the very top to see this beautiful 187-foot waterfall. And it was very funny because my thought before getting there was, there's no reason for a Black person to go to Hawaii. It's hot, it's wet, and it's dirty. There's no reason to go. That was my preconceived, mature thought process. But getting there, while I'm walking through this jungle to get to this waterfall, once I got there, I had such a powerful, I would say, out of body, very divine spiritual experience that even two other people witnessed it themselves. They were able to come and say, I just saw around you this, ball of light, and this is two angels, one on the left, one on the right, and they were describing, I already saw it, but they were describing, watching me looking at the waterfall. And as I'm looking at the waterfall, I hear, this is your destiny. And the destiny had to do with being a publisher, having my own TV show, having large events, and making an impact in helping women know that they're enough and helping women become unlimited, removing those limiting beliefs that hold us back from really showing up. Well, of course, you can't speak that until you've gone through the process yourself, until you've gone through the fire of being purified, if you will.
Yeah.
A diamond only shows up under a lot of pressure.
Yeah, right.
So I've had to go through a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
To get to where I am today, to fulfill the calling that I think is on my life now.
Was that 2013?
Good question. I think it was 2014, 2013-14 is when I had to go to Hawaii, and that's when it started.
I think so. It's interesting. It's interesting to me because I think, okay, well, that's 5 years ago. At the time of this recording, that's 5 years ago. Like, so much happens, and I think sometimes, at least for me, big vision can be intimidating. Right, like. But it's so cool to see like all that's happened in the 5 years since that moment to where you are now and what you're doing now.
And I still haven't even completed the calling. So, the bigger calling outside of the books and the having your own TV show and then having your own TV channel on a major network, that's still there to this day. And they're still trying to pull me back in and say, you need to launch your own network, and I'm working on it. And then to say, okay, but your real vision is to do this really large stadium event. And that means having the mental, emotional healing and capacity to carry that kind of a vision.
Yeah.
And to call in the right people to be a part of it with you, because obviously you can't make an impact in thousands of people's lives by yourself. I mean, you can, but it's greater. I prefer doing it in community. I'd prefer to do it in collaboration. I'd prefer to do it in teamship.
Yep.
than trying to do all of it under my own brand and my own name. So
Yeah.
it's been a journey, I have to say. It's not been easy at all. I've gone through many, many losses,
Oh,
but many, many
yeah.
revelations and powerful truths and healings that I'm grateful for. It took a while to get to the place of gratefulness, but I am grateful
Yeah.
for.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Well, walk me into the work that you're doing, like the important work. So you have I don't know if it's the business itself or a brand, but Unlimited Women Alliance.
Yes. So the
Talk to me about
alliance
that.
is really more of the global movement. It's as building partnerships with women worldwide. And the intent is what would happen if we as women really came together in collaboration, in sisterhood, without competition, without jealousy, but really said, I see you and the greatness in you, and how do I help you continue to show up? I am fascinated with women who have big dreams and wanting to support them make that happen. What do I need to do? Who do I know? What resources do I have that will support you in creating your brand feminine empire, help you, get seen, get heard, get published, get on stage, get on TV. Those things fascinate me. Those things thrill me to no end. And so now the bigger vision is, okay, let's all come in one big old stadium and see what we can do there.
Yeah. Yeah. So walk me into that. So that you have this idea for a big stadium event.
Yes.
The Rose Bowl
Yes.
is
Yes,
it, can I
yes.
say that? Can I say
Yes,
the,
yeah, it's already out there. Everyone else has
all
been
right.
saying it. Sounds like, all right,
Okay.
I'll say it now too.
And
So,
the goal, tell me about the goal of the event and sort of the vision of that.
so the vision, it really started in 1997. I was a part of another women's organization that actually accomplished it. It was the very first women's organization that took place at the Rose Bowl in 1997, May 15th and 16th. And we pulled in 32,000 women from around the world to that event. I was in the secondary lead. So there's the founders and then there's secondary leaders and the thirdary leaders. I was in the advisor team, the advisory board. And luckily got put in that position because I was working on my master's at the time, and my professor asked me to do this as my dissertation, or not my dissertation, my thesis. And I got accepted. And once the event took place, I was on the stage helping one of the keynote speakers, and I'm standing behind the curtain and looking at 32,000 women and going, wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
The speaker comes off the stage and says, and I said, that must have been amazing, just speaking to that crowd of women. She goes, well, you'll do something like this one day. I'm like, hell to the no. You will never be on a stage talking to that many people ever. She turned around with this look in her face, I'll never forget it, and said, I promise you that is your destiny. And then that weekend, 4 more people at different times in different places throughout that whole event within the leadership team came up and said, Anita, you're going to do something just like it. Well, of course, I ran from that. Like, nope. You're never going to make me do it. And then it wasn't until August of 2017 where the solar eclipse, do you remember when we had that huge solar eclipse? Okay, well, I don't know about everybody else, but I had a physical response to it. Like I was knocked out, tired, and just couldn't move, and just felt like all this energy in the house. I'm like, what's going on? And I don't understand. And I fell asleep. While I was asleep, it's like you were asleep, but you're not really asleep. That's when the vision for the Rose Bowl. Now, I hadn't thought about it in 20 some odd years. It was, I was in my teens when that, or early 20s, late 20s actually. When that happened. So I hadn't thought about it in years. And then here it comes dropping into my spirit and says, it's time. It's time for you to start pursuing this. So I ran from it for about a good 6 months, but it haunted me. In my dreams. People just like was coming up in my feed, and I'm like, out of the strangest things, I haven't seen anything about the Rose Bowl, and all of a sudden I'm getting emails and people talking about the Rose Bowl in strangest places. So I just like, all right, obviously you really want me to pursue this. So the more I said, okay, fine. I had a little bit of attitude and said, if you really want me to do this, then bring me people who will help me make this happen. You shouldn't do things like that to God's sources spirit, because then they start bringing you people. And last week was the week where what I needed the most dropped in. Someone I met said, well, I know someone who could probably help you get the money you need to make that happen. And that's the biggest one. I said, okay, now I'll say yes. That was what I was looking for the most. Because I'm like, okay, if you really want me to do it, you know how much money I'm going to need to make this happen. And I don't have it. I got $5.
That's amazing.
It's weird. I decided to pursue it. So we're focusing on our first meeting, team meeting is going to take place next month, and we'll have some men coming in too. So I'll be calling and say, Chris, you want to be a part of this? We're going to figure out how this is going to work because we've got marketing and all this stuff to do.
Yeah.
The goal is to see if we can pull this together for a 2021 event.
So amazing. There's so much in your story of it all in terms of important work from a lot of times I think people find their important work when through the trials, the tribulations that happen. Yes. I also think that a sign of important work is that it haunts you, it chases you, or it pulls you, like somehow you can't shake it. It's just there.
Yes. Very, very true.
And
I also think, sometimes we get these really big, audacious dreams and visions, and we think we're crazy. I know I did. I thought no one else is thinking this way, and no one in my family has ever accomplished anything like this. And so where would this audacious, crazy vision come from when my environment has never demonstrated anything like this? So of course I must be crazy. This is just a fantasy. Just, let it go, let it go. I mentioned it to one friend and she's like, oh, that makes so much sense. And I'm like, what? She's like, oh, I could totally see you doing that. I'm like, what? Like, I don't understand. Wow. So then it just started to drop into, and I finally got out of my ego mind that was kind of trying to figure out, well, all of these are the criteria why you shouldn't do it. And I really dropped into my spirit. My spirit started to say, this is not about you.
Yeah.
And if you get out of the way, I'll bring what you need to make this happen. So I've had to learn to get out of the way.
That's good. You're the vessel. You're the vessel.
That's all I am.
You're the jar of clay. You're the thing that gets to usher it forward. You're the conduit. Okay, so good. Well, listen, I want to sort of wind it down with this. I want to know, like, on the other side of this stadium event, on the other side of Unlimited Women Alliance, what do you see is possible in the world when women begin to own who they are?
I truly, my dream, my vision, my hope is that women would know that they're enough. And that would cause a ripple effect, a tipping point where men would start to know that they were enough, not from a doing perspective on any side, male or female. Mm-hmm. And then that would create a legacy that moves upon our children and then changes our community and then changes our world. Mm. It is my hope that we would know how great God created us to be, how amazing and gifted and talented we really are, how beautiful life truly is, how amazing family can be. Even when it's broken, you can find another type of family. Mm. And that family can be just the very thing that validates you. My hope is that there's peace. Of course I want world peace. Is world peace possible? Mm. I think only when we decide it's possible. Mm. I don't know if we've decided that it's possible yet. Mm. I don't know if we've reached that conclusion. Yeah. And
I love the role that I think the divine feminine brings to that conversation, right? Where there's like this, this peace that comes with it, this collaboration, this peace, this creativity. Love that. I love that.
It's just time for us to decide. That word decision is one of my favorite words. It's to reach a definite conclusion. Once we reach a conclusion that we can have whatever we want to have or be whoever we want to be, then it's just undeniable. And I've decided, okay, this is my piece in the solution, is to help as many women know that she's enough. And then from there, help her remove all the limitations so that she's unlimited, she's limitless. Mm-hmm. And then as we give that to others, we just start to experience that in our own lives. And there you have it.
So good. I love it. I love the work you're up to in the world. I think I think the world's ready for it. I think women are waking up all over the place, ready to be heard, ready to step into their power and their own vision. I can't wait for that. It's so good. It's fun watching it happen.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming on the show. If people want to reach out to you, they want to learn more about whether it's Unlimited Women Alliance or it's the I called it the Super Bowl. Super Bowl that's right. How about the Rose Bowl event coming up in 2021? So how do people connect with you?
Well, the best way to reach me is to go to my own website, which is www.dranitaMjackson.com. So dranitaMjackson.com, best way to reach me.
Perfect. So good. Anita, thanks for being on the show. So great to know you. I'm so glad we met.
Adore you, Chris.
All my best to you and all that you're doing. It's so awesome.
Thank you, my friend. So appreciate you.
Do you have important work in the world? We can help you produce a show just like this one and get your message out in the world. Go to mygroundswell.com to connect with us now.